it is Caitlin, and today we are making more evening headdresses. This one with the bow, and then these. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So here we are with our supplies. We're kind of going to make 3 headdresses today because there's like 2 parts to one of them, but I'm probably going to wear them together and then the other one. But basically all this stuff is from Timely Tresses, so I have silk satin ribbon in 2 different colors, lots of different flowers, or 2 kinds anyway, so I have 2 of these. And then I have 2 sets of these. And then you can actually buy these on Timely Tresses website. These came from the stash. They're just faux tortoiseshell combs, which are plastic, which of course is not correct, but considering that tortoises are endangered and it is illegal to phase out tortoiseshell anymore, this is as good as we're going to get. And I have 2 of them. And I cut one in half because I'm thinking for the first one that we're going to do, to attach it, instead of having to pin it with hairpins, I think it might be easier to attach it to a comb. So let's go ahead and start with this one. So basically, the original that I'm copying is from a magazine, fashion magazine. I think it was 1861, and essentially it's just 2 bows on the top of the lady's head. Seems simple enough, yes? And they have fairly long tails, it looks like. And I'm wondering how exactly I want to tie these, because they seemed very flat, like they weren't super puffy like a bow would be. But maybe if I tied one for it from this end. And kind of left it not so tight. It almost seems from looking at the engraving that maybe her ribbon was wider than mine. Should do another one on top of this one. Make it slightly smaller because that's what I'm seeing. Something more like that. Of course, we'd have to make the tails different and just stitch them on top of each other. It might be easier to do a double bow like what we did on the Chantilly dress, which is really the dress I'm going to be wearing this with. That almost works in and of itself, and you just attach it to there and it just sits on top of the head. Except for I would like more streamers kind of going through, but I can attach those to the back of this bow and make these be the short ones. Let's try that. So we have double bow. And let's cut some longer streamers, so maybe more like this long. I don't think I'm going to cut this yet. I'm just going to cut it here. And maybe I can just attach it right here. Or even just pleat it a little bit. Or attach it more this way. And we're getting more streamers going down the head. I think that'll work. So, find my thread now. So I think the best step first is going to be make sure it's more or less even and just stitch this through a couple times here on the sides. Just, oops, that went all the way through. Shouldn't have folded through so tight. Just to make sure that it's all attached. And that can kind of come out a little bit. Okay, so we have this. And I think the best way to attach this is just to wind it through, take a bite of the ribbon, wind it over each of the sections, making sure none of my stitches can be seen from the other side, or at least we're hoping. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And that looks like it's pretty well attached. I'm just going to tie off my little knot here. And that's the first one. Super simple. It is a little smaller than, say, the bow that's in the original engraving, but I think it'll be okay. So there's that one. Next we're going to do a floral one. Basically I want it to kind of curve and go around a bun. I'm probably going to take the leaves off and maybe put them kind of like within this. I want that kind of more like that. Got some green silk ribbon. So I'm probably going to cut these right here. Okay. And just to keep them together for now, I think I'm going to take this, do some buttonhole stitches to just keep them together briefly while I'm working on it. I'm going to do the same thing with this side, except I need to make sure that they're even. So we're going to cut them right here. And we're going to attach them more like that, so they're fairly close together. It's going to create a nice little ball of flowers. And essentially I'm just going to put just like this. So this is going to fit. Just kind of like that. So I have some green silk ribbon. I might take some of these leaves off first though, before I put the ribbon on. Okay. We definitely want some leaves in here. Stick this where some of the other flowers are. Oops. Maybe something more like, there we go. Just get some more leaves in there. Only a few. There we go. And a little bit more like that. Okay, we're going to take the silk ribbon, and because it's green, it'll kind of match better. We're just going to wrap all this up pretty tightly. I'm going around the florals, making sure everything's kind of together the best we can. And making sure those edges are all hidden. Okay, so that's going to stay together. So now I'm going to come back over here and do this side. And once that's pretty tightly put together, you take this and my needle and just really tack it in there. So I want this to stay really nice and tight to keep all those pieces together. What I want to do is I want to kind of move everything around. And I'm personally a fan of trying to cover as much as possible the ribbon while still making it look somewhat natural. Got three more leaves here I can put in. And just stick them through. Kind of like that. Just like a lot of leaves in the middle, but it'll work. And then kind of some of the flowers up. Trying just to really hide the ribbon we put on. Kind of sticking things places. There's another one. There we go, just like that. So, nice thing about flowers and wires is that you can kind of manipulate them and then put them exactly where you need them to be. So we have our comb We're basically going to do the same thing we did last time. We're going to find what is somewhat the center. Stick that right on there. And just go through each one of these loops. And just pull everything really tight. So for extra security, I'm going to go back through it again, just the opposite direction, or at least as far as my thread will allow. Because we're about to run out. And if anything kind of became unarranged, you can just go back through, cover everything back up again, stick everything back up where you want it to be stuck up. Kind of move these down, I think is what I'm going to do. Kind of very much like that. Alright, so that one is done, and so these can be worn separately. I will probably wear them together with the lilac and chantilly dress. But yes, they are both independent little headdresses and can be worn separately. And there's the back. You can always use one of these leaves or something to cover up the top. That way if your dance partner's taller than you or whatever, whenever you're wearing this too, they can't see all the nasty little stitches. It kind of just looks like that from the top. So, 2 out of the 3 done. This one we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to do it something more like this. Just like that. And these are going to be really moving. These are really going to be animated and they're going to move quite a bit, which will be nice. Okay, instead of covering this one with the green, I think I'm going to cover it with some blue I have laying around. I'm also going to cut off, once I figure out, because these have some little wires attaching them, and I'm going to stick the wires together, and that's how big I'm going to keep this. So all this excess stuff, I'm going to cut off. And because I'm going to put a giant bow on it in blue, I'm going to cover this up in blue ribbon so it won't be as noticeable as, say, the green. Well, the green usually works for florals because, you know, stems and leaves. And I'm just going to do it to about right here. Once the florals start kind of blooming out, I don't want to, like, you know, squish them. Putting ribbon here gives you something to sew through with your needle. And these can kind of still be moved up and such because they are on wires, so they're not, you're not like stuck to what it looks like. You can just move them around. Okay. And cut the excess ribbon off. Grab my trusty needle here, and we're just going to stick this through several times, just to really make sure it's going to stay. Okay, and then I'm going to attach it to this, put it in the center. You can also just, you know, take your thread and weave it in and out without actually having to do any stitching, particularly on one like this where we're going to cover it up anyway. Okay, we need some more thread. You just need it nice and tight because you don't want your headdress to kind of fall apart. I could keep going attaching, but it feels pretty sturdy, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to put a bow right in the center, so I'm going to go ahead and tie this. Okay, I kind of like that size of bow. I need to make it a little bit more even because I want to keep the streamers. I'm making this basically the same way we did the double one, but, you know, not doubled. Very much like that. I like that. And that's more or less about even at the ends. Let's go ahead and cut these at an angle. And now we get to attach that. And with this, we're just going to go through our needle. Go through a couple times in a couple of different places. You do want this to be fairly secure. Don't want to lose the bow. Okay. And I'm just going to move that up a little bit. Above the flowers, and move the flowers sort of down too, to kind of so you can see them a bit more. And what I might do, just to kind of keep this bow from falling down, is kind of just stitch it to this very edge of this blue ribbon we put on the flowers. And we're going to tie a couple knots. And there's that one. Again, you can try to just move the flowers down. That will cover all that. And you have another little floral comb. And you could very much, if you wanted to, like, have spaced these out a little bit more, like not have them so close together. That way it would really kind of hide it. But yeah, that was an easy one. And I just like how animated these are, these little sprays like this, because they're not all wired together, so it takes away some of the stiffness, which I really do appreciate. And that's essentially it for these three. So some very simple evening headdress ideas. They're not even headdresses, they're just little combs. But you see these pop up very frequently in magazines and that sort of thing, and it's kind of fun to make them. They're really easy, quick projects. Alright, headdress number 1 done. So this is the one with the bow in the back. So that's what it looks like. I actually did my hair up really nice and evening-y with the curls and all that, so this is usually how I do my hair for like evening stuff. I said I don't usually do the braided bun in the back, I usually just do a plain bun, but the braided bun hides because these curls are fake, they're not my real hair. So it hides the joint where the curls get pushed in much better than a plain bun. So, but yeah, I'll show you again. And there's a fair bit of movement in them. Yeah, so that is number 1. I would really like to show you the other headdress with the evening gown I actually plan to wear this one with, but I cannot get that dress on, the Chantilly dress, without help, because it is about clothing bodice, and it definitely fits, but I cannot for the life of me get it on. So this is one of the only front closing evening gowns that I have, so we're going to do it with this again. So I'm going to take this one out, and it just pops right out, which makes getting ready easy. So just in case you're curious, here's what my hair looks like without anything. So yeah, I try to put rats in. My hair doesn't like rats. Even though it's my real hair, it's a lot lighter than my hair is like when it's in my head, I think because I put pomade in it and that sort of thing, and it darkens it. So yeah, my rats that you've made for my own hair don't match my hair that's attached to my head. So, you know, that's always helpful. But let's go ahead and put in this one. Finding the exact center could be difficult. Yeah, it feels fine. And I might need a mirror for this one, so I shall be back. And there's headdress number 2. So yeah, this one isn't quite as flowy as the other one, but it does actually look good with this dress because of the pink. So, you know, it fits with it. I think it'll look really good with the lilac and chantilly dress. I just have to, you know, have someone put me into that dress. So yeah, quick and simple project. Two little evening headdresses. I have a couple more planned out, so be looking for those. But these turned out really well, and they'll be quite versatile. They'll go with a majority of my gowns, and they look nice, which is always a good thing. But thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.